Hey everyone, we are finally back to producing solo run videos. Sorry I haven't uploaded anything for the last little while. After December was all finished with the 11 versus races, I spent all of my time and effort making the Pokemon Yellow Randomizer community race. And since that video is now done, we can now get back to the solo run content everyone loves. Today, we are going to see how fast Crobat can beat Pokemon Crystal in a solo run. So let's just get straight into the video, shall we? While I have the gameplay going on screen, I'm going through the early routes and stuff like that, why don't we see exactly who we're dealing with? Crobat is one of my favorite Pokemon in Generation 2 because, let me just look at it. It's a really cool looking bat, it's got 4 wings, it's purple, and it honestly made me love the Zubat line. Like almost every game that I played casually for the last 10 years, if I could, my main team would have a Crobat. Fun fact, in Legends Arceus, I had a Zubat on my team, and then I accidentally found a full-on shiny Zubat, so I replaced my current Zubat and I beat the game with a shiny Crobat. So yeah, that was just a fun memory. Anyway, back on topic. In terms of base stats, we have a base stat total of 535, with 85 HP, 90 attack, 80 defense, 70 special attack, 80 special defense, and 130 speed. So we're pretty much going to outspeed everything in the game, and 90 attack is quite okay actually. But with the 90 attack and 70 special attack, let's see what moves we have to go with it. Our starting moveset is not good. We start with only Leech Life, Screech, and Supersonic. And remember, before Generation 7, Leech Life was a measly 20 base power. And we don't even get stabbed from it, so this is going to be an awful move. But fortunately at level 12, we will get Bite, which is a 60 base power dark type move. And remember, in Generation 2, all dark type moves are special, so it will use our lower special attack, but it'll still be infinitely better than Leech Life. And then we'll get Confuse Ray, Wing Attack, Mean Look, and Haze. And via TMs, the notable TMs we get are of course Curse, which everybody gets, Toxic, Hidden Power, Hyper Beam, Giga Drain, Return, Swift, and Rest, and Attract, and Steel Wing. We pretty much don't get many moves. I mean, Giga Drain will help with coverage for rock and ground types, but Giga Drain is all the way in Kanto when you fight Erica. So it's going to be a little bit before we get access to it. And also, a new thing I've started doing for the new year of solo run videos, I am now doing 2 playthroughs per video so we can get a more accurate result for our leaderboard. So right now we're going to go over my first playthrough. All I did was just make some rough notes like, what TMs am I going to pick up? What move do I want by this gym leader? And stuff like that. And then after we go over the first playthrough, I will go over the second playthrough and just where I've optimized. So let's just continue with the run. You could probably have seen this in the background, but starting with only Leech Life as an attacking move is not good, especially since the first gym leader is Falkner, who resists the bug typing since he uses all flying types. So clearly, I need to get to level 12 for Bite. So what I do in the first playthrough, I fight a bunch of trainers that I can, but I don't fight all of them because Leech Life has a small amount of power points, and I was just trying to cut back on the amount of times I heal at the Pokemon Center. And then once I enter Violet City, I go ahead and heal at the Pokemon Center and go straight to the Bellsprout Tower. One unfortunate thing, if this was Generation 1, the Bellsprout are actually 4 times weak to Bug, because both the grass and the poison typing were weak to bug, but in this game, while grass is weak to it, poison resists it, so it only does neutral damage, and I'm lucky if I can even 2-shot the Bellsprout. So the training in here does take a while, and I do have to leave at least one time just to heal. After that, I decided there's gotta be a better way to train, so I actually go to the ruins of Alph and begin solving a puzzle. Why am I doing this? Well, you see, as soon as I solve the puzzle, the floor underneath me breaks, and now I can encounter level 5 unknown. They are all psychic typing, they are 2 shots with Leech Life, and most of the time their hidden power won't even be super effective anyway, and they actually give good XP yields, because one of the main problems with having to do the Bellsprout Tower is that the trainers would just have a lot of Pokemon, plus I would have to get out manually because I didn't have an escape rope. Plus, there are a couple of trainers in there with Hoot Hoot which resist the move. so I figured this training would probably be better. I stay training on the unknown until I reach level 9, and I decide, okay, now I should try and fight the rest of the Bellsprout Tower. Because still, the trainers in this game do give 50% more experience than wild Pokemon, so if I can, I should train on trainer Pokemon. I was just hoping I could train up high enough to make the Bellsprout easier. With a combination of Leech Life, Screech, and Supersonic, I am able to clear out the entirety of Bellsprout Tower, get the HM for Flash, and then just get out of here. Unfortunately, I am not level 12 yet for Bite, but I figured, you know what, I am level 11, I'll just fight this one trainer with a Spearow. Obviously, it's going to resist Leech Life, so the main plan is to use Supersonic and try and get off a Screech or two. Spearow do not have good defense stat, so if I can get it to hit itself over and over again, it'll just knock itself out. But once I get it to half health, I just spam Leech Life. And then after the Spearow, I get to level 12 and learn Bite. Now things are going to start getting easier. So now, let us fight the first gym leader, Falkner. He leads off with his level 7 Pidgey. Bite is a 2-shot. It goes for Tackle because Mudslap cannot hit a flying type. And then I go for Bite on Pidgeotto, which is a 3-hit. It just spams Gust. I heal with my Berry. And then I defeat Falkner and get a sub 15 Falkner split. That is a very bad Falkner split, but then again, we are starting with only Leech Life. I have to grind my way to Bite. If I allowed myself to use an Egg move, this Pokemon would be a lot better, but I don't allow myself to start with an Egg move in normal runs, so this is what we're going to have to deal with. Thanks to having Bite on the moveset, making my way to Azalea Town is no problem at all. When I am in the Union Cave though, I do get the TM for Swift. It is a 60 base power normal type move that never misses. While Bite is 60 power, our attack is better, so Swift is pretty much going to be my go-to move until I eventually get Return. I then enter Azalea Town, talk to Kurt, clear out the Team Rocket Grunts in the Slowpoke well, and now I can fight the second gym leader, Bugsy. We obviously know what the hard Pokemon is. The Metapod and the Kakuna are there just to waste time. I mean, the worst thing that the Kakuna can do is poison you with Poison Sting, so you take chip damage, but we're a poison type Pokemon, so we don't even get poisoned. And then once we get to the Scyther, obviously the move we fear most is Quick Attack, but that's just because it does 6 damage instead of 1 from Fury Cutter. But then the Scyther decided to just switch between Quick Attack and Fury Cutter, and it even missed one of them, so I get a very easy Hive Badge. Rival 2 right afterwards is generally harder than Bugsy for most Pokemon, mainly due to the Ghastly and being immune to a lot of early game moves, but since we have the move Bite, he is not a struggle at all. And of course, the rival has Quilava, since I always replace the Grass type starter in my run, so the rival always has a Fire type. And of course, this will just be very easy. While in the Ilex Forest, since I never found a cut user, I have to catch an Oddish now, get cut from the charcoal guy, and then I can make my way through the forest. I have to skip Headbutt because Crobat cannot learn it, even though it is a head with wings. It should learn it, but that's just me. And then I go through the rest of the forest and make my way up to Goldenrod City. With every Pokemon I do, there's always a bunch of errands I have to do here, like get the coin case, get the radio card, get the bicycle, get Kenya the Spearow for Fly. I'm pretty much just going to skip all that stuff. But I will mention, once I actually finish all the errands, I do go straight up to the Sudowoodo tree. The reason is, in Pokemon Crystal, you have to talk to a girl near the Sudowoodo tree to have her go back to the flower house, and then after you beat Whitney, then you can talk to her, and then talk to the other woman, and then you can get the squirt bottle. In Gold and Silver in the remakes, you do not have to do this. This is only in Crystal, which is another reason the Abra is useful, because you can just teleport straight back. And now that I've teleported straight back, we can now go take on the third gym leader, Whitney. Whitney leads off with Clefairy. Will it use Metronome today? It does, and it just Metronome Bone Rush, and then it just flinched the next turn, so no damage. Alright, now for the Miltank. I go for Bite, it stacks up Rollout. I try and rely on a flinch from Bite, but I just don't get the flinch. The Miltank gets me to 1 HP, and then it just flat out kills me and I get a reset. On the next attempt though, I decide to set up a Confuse Ray first before I start sweeping with damage, because if I can just get it to hit itself, it will break any attempt at a rollout chain. And that strat ends up working. I get to level 23 and I get the Plane Badge. The Plane Badge will give me a 12.5% boost to my speed, but that's not important right here because we're obviously just using a Crobat. The main thing that's important is the 12.5% boost to normal type moves. So now Swift is going to be even better. So now after we beat Whitney, I can go into this house and get the Squirt Bottle, chase off the Sudowoodo, and I can make my way up to Ecruteak City. First thing I do is go in the Pokemon Center to heal, and to set it as a teleport point for later, go in the Kimono Girl's house and take out all the Kimono Girls and get the HM for Surf. I caught a Poliwag on one of the early routes because when I start my new game, I actually started it on Sunday at 1 AM. The reason I started at 1 AM is because later in the run, I'm going to get the TM for Curse, and I don't allow myself to change the time of day or day of the week once I've started the run, so I have to set that all beforehand. And in the early routes, when it's nighttime, there's a chance you can find Poliwag. Poliwag learn all of the water HMs, so if I get a Poliwag, I can actually skip the Dratini for Waterfall. I will still need a Krabby for Strength though. And then afterwards, if I need to do training for Rival 3, Morty, or anyone else like that, I can either go straight to the Lighthouse or go towards the Lake of Rage for training, but I choose to go fight Rival 3, which ends up being a mistake. He leads off with Haunter. I decide to go for Bite, which does 2/3. It luckily flinches and doesn't get off a curse. Now is Magnemite. I go for Bite, it only does 1/4, Sonic Boom does 20 damage, Swift does slightly more, and luckily it never once went for Thundershock. Now for Zubat. I go for Swift, it hits me with Confuse Ray, I hit myself again, it bites me, and I luckily do not hit myself a 3rd time, but on the Quilava, I hit it with Swift for less than half, and then Ember knocks me out. That's not good. On the second attempt, I do not flinch the Haunter, and it gets off a curse. Fortunately in Generation 2, if I knock out the opponent, I don't take curse damage, but obviously the next Pokemon is Magnemite, which is going to be a 3-hit, so I just take way too much damage, so I reset. I pretty much know what the answer is. I should not have attempted Rival 3 right away. I should have done the training towards the Lake of Rage, because my hidden power typing for this run is Hidden Power Ground, so I should have gotten and go get it first. But I decided to just keep going at this fight anyway, which is just a massive time sink. It takes me until 4 resets into the run, and then I'm finally able to defeat the rival. You know, sometimes people say Rival 2's the only hard one in this game, but honestly, if you're not prepared, Rival 3 actually can be hard. But anyway, once I beat him, I can get out of here, and then I go fight Morty. You may be thinking, you just had a rough rival fight, why are you trying to do Morty? Well, here's the thing, Bite is going to one-shot pretty much every single Ghastly, so I'm really not worried about this gym, so let's just see how Morty goes. Morty leads off with Ghastly, I go for Bite, which does the one-shot, okay. Next up is the Haunter, will it one-shot Haunter? Barely, but then it kills itself with Curse, so hopefully I can knock out everything. Obviously the Gengar is going to be a 2-shot because it always is, but then it's one turn to attack, it just used Mean Look instead of something like Hypnosis. If I wanted to for a safety strat, I could have gone over by the Moo Moo Milk Farm and get the Mint Berry to help wake me up from sleep, but I decided to skip it, so that was clearly risky there, but still, first try victory, I'll take it. Next up, I go through routes 38 and 39 and head on down to Olivine City. When I enter Olivine City, there are a few errands I have to do here, which include healing at the center, getting a good rod, buying some super repels at the mart, and then with the good rod, I can catch a Krabby. In this water here, the Krabby have a 45% chance to spawn, and Magikarp is 55%. Fortunately, I fish up a Krabby on the first try. I go for Swift, which luckily doesn't knock it out because Krabby have very high defense compared to special defense, and then I use the Lure Ball I got from Kurt for free back in Azalea Town, and it catches it in one ball. That's good. So then I can go through the Olivine Lighthouse, get to the very top, so I can talk to Jasmine about getting the secret potion, then get a rare candy before heading out. And while doing the Lighthouse, Crobat learns Wing Attack, so I teach it to its moveset. Wing Attack is pretty much now our best move because it will actually get the same type attack bonus or a 1.5 times modifier. So Wing Attack is 60 base power, the stab makes an effective power of 90, plus Faulkner's Badge gives me a 12.5% boost to all flying moves. So yeah, this move is really great, especially for the next gym leader, Chuck. Chuck leads off with a Primeape. Wing Attack does the one-shot, okay. Now for Poliwrath, I go for Wing Attack, it lives, and luckily it just goes for Surf instead of Hypnosis, so this was a very easy fight. Chuck is one of those fights where it's either really easy or really hard. It all depends on what the Poliwrath does. And then with Chuck defeated, I can talk to his wife and get the HM for Fly. You may think I should teach this to Crobat for good stab damage, but in Generation 2, Fly is only a 70 base power move with 90% accuracy. It's barely any stronger than Wing Attack, so I'm just going to teach that to Kenya. I fly on back to Ecruteak City, surf over to Route 42 through Mahogany Town, and go up to the Lake of Rage. I fight some trainers along the way for the very good training because some of these trainers have near fully evolved Pokemon, so they are actually worth it to fight in my opinion. And then when I head up to the Lake of Rage, I go through this maze of trees, and at the very end, not only I get the rare candy, I also get the TM for Hidden Power. Our Hidden Power type, as I've stated earlier, is Hidden Power Ground. The reason I decided on Hidden Power Ground was mainly to deal with the rivals Magnemite and Magneton, but also to deal with Jasmine, because Jasmine, in my opinion, can actually be a harder gym leader than Claire, because the Steelix just has so many resistances. And then with that obtained, I go and defeat the Gyarados, and then I help Lance with the Rocket Hideout. This place is really easy and it's just boring, so why don't we just skip all that and go straight to the next gym leader, Price. Price leads off with his level 27 Seal, Wing Attack one-shots it thankfully, then he sends out his Dewgong, which I think will survive, which it does. It goes for Aurora Beam, luckily it doesn't lower my attack. I knock it out, I get to level 37, and then the Piloswine Wing Attack does less than half. And luckily it missed 2 Blizzards, but then Price uses a Hyper Potion, the next Wing Attack does half, it hit its Blizzard, and then I'm able to finally knock it out. That was really lucky. I need to think of something better for the second playthrough, because Price can be hard if you're using a flying type, because flying types generally do not get that good move coverage, and the Piloswine's Blizzard can actually be a threat if it hits. It's just the reason a lot of people like to bash on Price is because his Piloswine does have a lot of weaknesses, but if you don't have a move for it, a Blizzard from it hurts. So now I can't delay it any longer, I have to fight Jasmine. I go back to the top of the lighthouse, return the secret potion to Amphi, and now with Jasmine back in her gym, I can go take her on. Fortunately for me, Hidden Power Ground makes complete and utter work of her Magnemites, then she sends out her Steelix right afterwards. The main plan here is to set up a Confuse Ray for that chance to hit itself, and then just sweep with Hidden Power Ground until I eventually win. But unfortunately though, I end up getting the Steelix in red bar because it didn't hit itself enough times, and then Iron Tail just keeps on hitting me, it lowered my defense at one point, and then Steelix just knocks me out for a reset. On the second attempt, I get luckier with it hitting itself, even though Jasmine did use another Hyper Potion. But still, even if it doesn't hit itself in confusion, Iron Tail has a 25% chance to miss, so I am able to win on the second try. And now, with 7 gym badges obtained, I have to do the entire Goldenrod Radio Tower. This place is really boring. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. If any of you have ever played Crystal version as a kid, or even the remakes, you guys know just how awful this is. Like, you have your team, you're in the low 30s at this point if you have a full team of 6, and you're just taking out level 19 Raticates. Like, seriously. There aren't many hard fights in here either. One of the harder fights is the Rocket Executive with 5 coughing and a wheezing. Fortunately for me, Hidden Power Ground is also good for him too. And then with him defeated, I can go into the underground basement and rescue the Director, but before I can get to the Director, I have to take on the rival, so let's do Rival 4. I go for Wing Attack doing 2/3, it hits me with Confuse Ray, fortunately I don't hit myself and I knock it out. Next up is the Magnemite, Hidden Power Ground completely destroys it and his entire family. Now for the Haunter, Hidden Power Ground one-shots it as well. Next up is the Sneasel, this thing is a special attacker in a physical attacker's body, as Steve once called it, so it's just really easy. And then the Quilava is not fully evolved, so Hidden Power one-shots it very easily. So now with the Director rescued, I get the card key to get to the top floor, and then I go up the stairs into the Goldenrod department store. This is the point where I get the TM for return, and then I go to the guy who sells vitamins, sell a bunch of stuff for money, and now is today's first 2024 Vitamin of the Day. Our vitamin of the day is going to be 4 protein and 3 calcium. The main reason I want protein is because we're pretty much only going to rely on physical moves, and the reason I chose calcium is because normally I choose to buy carbos for the extra speed, but Crobat clearly does not need it. So I just decide on calcium because in this game, your special attack and special defense are on the same DV or IV, so the calcium does boost both of them. I mainly got the calcium for a special defense boost if you think about it. So now with return on my moveset and my Crobat all vitamined up, I can clear out the rest of the radio tower, and then I can talk to this person right here and get a pink bow. I will hold on to this until I get the leftovers in Kanto. And now with Goldenrod behind us, I can make my way to Blackthorn City and take on Claire. The main thing that's threatening about her is that all 3 of her Dragonairs have Thunder Wave. Return unfortunately leaves it in very low health and it paralyzes me with Thunder Wave. That is not good. I had a pink bow and it still didn't one-shot, but then her second Dragonair has Thunderbolt, so I use Confuse Ray to try and stall, because if I can get it to hit itself then the next return will be a one-hit, but I clearly should have just reset the fight because I got paralyzed twice in a row and I die Beam. You know what, I see the problem. I go ahead and use 2 of my rare candies to level 48 to get over a damage rounding threshold. I was level 46, so if I get my level to something that ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8, it'll deal a slight boost extra in damage compared to previous levels. And with level 48, Dragonair actually does get one shot by return. Not just the first one, but all 3 of them do. And then the Kingdra is a 2-shot with return and all it gets off is a Surf. So yeah, that's just a complete night and day difference. That just shows you how important damage rounding is. I'll need to make sure in the second playthrough, make sure I'm level 48 for this fight. This is what the second playthroughs will be for. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the fact I'm doing them again. Make sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy it. And then I head on into the Dragon's Den, solve the quiz, and then get Claire's badge. I don't get the Dratini because I caught a Poliwag much earlier in the game, so that'll be my waterfall user. Although while I am in here, there are 2 max elixirs I get. I don't use these for the Elite Four because honestly in Johto, 1 elixir is really all you need. I get the 2 max elixirs for Kanto so I can cut on Pokemon Center trips. And now with all 8 badges, I go around the region getting some rare candies. I get the one in Violet City, the one south of Goldenrod City, the one in the Whirl Islands. It takes me a few tries to remember which cave it was in, but I do eventually find it. The one in Mount Mortar up a waterfall, and then I can head on over to New Bark Town and head my way into Kanto. The first thing I do is get another rare candy on this little island thing, and then I can make my way up to Victory Road. I do fight some trainers along the way too. I'm not really sure if it'll be necessary, but I'll learn this for sure by the time I do my second playthrough. So now that I've made it to the end of Victory Road, I can take on the rival for the last time. He leads off with Sneasel, and I'm level 52 after all that training. Sneasel goes down to 1 return. The Magneton is obviously a one-shot with Hidden Power Ground. And then for the Kadabra, I just go ahead and use return. I could have just kept spamming Hidden Power Ground, either way it would have worked. Now for the Golbat, it is a one-shot with return. Okay, it's all been one-shot so far. Haunter is a one-shot with Hidden Power Ground. I get to level 53, and then the Typhlosion will obviously get one shot. I do confuse it though, just in case. I use Hidden Power, and it one shot, so yeah, that Confuse Ray was completely unnecessary. So now I can enter the Pokemon League building, buy some full restores, heal at the center, And now I can fight the final 5 trainers of Johto. Let's do this shit. The first Elite Four member is Will, the Psychic type user. His Xatu lives in low health from a return, and it does decent damage with Psychic. Jinx is a one-shot because its defense is pure trash. Now for Slowbro. Return one-shots it with a crit, which I think did matter. The second Xatu survives a return again, Will uses a max potion, and eventually I knock it out. And now for the Banana Tree Executor, Wing Attack is all I need. So for the second run, if I wanted to be extra safe, I probably should have been level 55 over damage rounding, but even then I'm not sure that would have been enough. It did live with a lot of health left. The second Elite Four member is Koga, the user of Poison and Bug types. The Ariados is a one-shot, the Venomoth is a one-shot with Wing Attack. Now for the Fortress. This Fortress loves to survive moves unless you're using a fire move. My best move here is Wing Attack, just because it does neutral damage since it's part bug. And now for the Muck, Return almost one-shots it and it gets off a Minimize. I did miss a return, but luckily the next one hit. And now it's Crobat on Crobat. The Crobat does try and use a double team, but I am able to knock it out. Next up is the Fighting type Elite Four member, Bruno. He leads off with a Hitmontop, it hits me with Quick Attack while I destroy it with Wing Attack. Now for the Onix. Hidden Power Ground is a 2-shot because Onix does have really good defense. And then at level 55, I deny Haze because it's a bad move unless it's Gen 1. Then I go for Wing Attack on the Hitmonchan, it gets a crit, which I think did matter because the Hitmonchan has pretty good defense too. Then the Machamp goes down quite easily, Sandstorm keeps chipping everything down, and then Wing Attack one-shots the Hitmonlee. You know what's funny? I think that Sandstorm probably hurt Bruno more than it hurt me. Some of those may have lived in red health if it weren't for the Sandstorm. Next up is the Dark-type Elite Four member Karen. Her Umbreon loved to give Pokemon their first resets, and I do get hit with Sand Attack. But Crobat just tanks it like a beast, and I defeated Karen not only on the first try, I didn't miss a single attacking move despite having a Sand Attack. That is impressive. And now, we are going to be fighting the Johtonian champion, Lance. Lance leads off with his Gyarados. Return does 2/3 to it, it uses a useless Rain Dance, and now comes out Dragonite. I go for Return, it hits me with Thunder Wave and I'm paralyzed. I probably should equip the Paralysis Cure Berry, I have saved it up to this point. Honestly, I take it back. Gyarados' Rain Dance is actually useful for me, because when he sends out his Charizard eventually, the Flamethrower will do less damage. Anyway, the first Dragonite goes down, my Paralysis Cure Berry is now gone, but then the second Dragonite paralyzes me, but I still defeat it. Now is the Aerodactyl, it goes for Rock Slide and it flinches me and then I die. So I need to get a Thunder Wave miss, just one. Because in this game, Thunder Wave is one of the moves that has a built-in 25% chance to miss on top of its accuracy if the opponent uses it. So I just need one of them to miss. Because the Paralysis Cure Berry unfortunately cannot be used twice, because Recycle is not a move in this game. But then on the second Dragonite, it didn't use Thunder Wave, it used Blizzard, so hey, I'll take it. Then on the Aerodactyl, I use Confuse Ray, I get hit with Rock Slide, I go for Return by mistake. I probably should have went with Wing Attack, but I think Return was my best bet. Now for the Charizard, I confuse it, it hits itself, I go for Return, leaves it in low health, Flamethrower leaves me at 3 HP left, and the rain wasn't even up. Then the level 50 Dragonite, I confuse it, hit it with Return, it hits itself, Lance uses a full restore, Return hits it, I confuse it, it hits itself, and then Return knocks it out. Do you see how incredibly luck-based that Lance fight was? This strategy is not viable for a second playthrough. I really need to figure something out, but hey, that's something for future me to deal with. So now at this point, we just have to go through the Kanto region, get a few rare candies we need, defeat 7 of the 8 easy gym leaders in Kanto. So I think what I'll start doing for the Kanto sections, unless there's an actual hard gym leader, I might just skip straight to blue. So let's go ahead and fade out. Fortunately for you guys, Misty actually proved a challenge, so cue the intro. She leads off with Golduck, which is a one-shot with Return. Her Quagsire does tank it because Quagsire has pretty decent bulk. And now is the Lapras. I hit it with Return, and then it hits me with Blizzard, thankfully not freezing. Now for the Starmie. I go for Return, and then it confuses me. I hit myself, Starmie uses Recover, I hit myself, Starmie used Ice Beam, and I froze, and then I die. I mean, that does kind of balance out needing the really good luck for Lance, and you can see I rewinded here. I actually did this fight without saving, because why would you ever save before a Kanto gym leader? And the alternative would have been me going all the way back to New Barktown to start over the whole Kanto section. And besides, this is a first playthrough. I did add a reset to the counter, let's just pretend that I saved. Anyway, on the second attempt, the Lapras does hit me with Perish Song, but thankfully I'm able to end the battle just in time. I do the rest of the Kanto gym leaders quite easily, and I make it all the way to blue. So now, let's take on the 16th gym leader. He leads off with a Pidgeot, and my Crobat is level 64, almost 65. The Pidgeot mirror moved Return, but it did so little damage because I think the enemy Pokemon just have the default friendship of whatever that Pokemon is, so it did very little damage. The Rhydon's easy with Hidden Power Ground. The Sandstorm is still going on, so it's dealing a lot of chip damage actually. But then the Gyarados used Rain Dance to get rid of it, and then the following Arcanine can't use its best Flamethrower, so it just has to stick with an awful extreme speed for damage. Although one of them did crit, so I guess that was something. And now the Exeggutor is almost a one-shot with Wing Attack, but luckily it just went for an awful Egg Bomb, so I am able to defeat it. And that is blue defeated. I have all 16 badges. So now is the point where I have to prepare for red. I go to Professor Oak and he gives me permission to go to Mount Silver. I head on over to the Pokemon Center, enter it, cut these trees right here, and then I can go over here and get this rare candy. At this point, I would use the Abra to teleport back, since if you're in Kanto, where I was, you cannot fly to Johto. So what I do, I actually, before I teleport back, I fly to Celadon City and talk to this guy to get the TM for Curse. So now I can actually teleport back. But this is the point where I find out, you can't use teleport in a building. Dude, that would have been such a nice time save. So I actually have to get out of the building, then teleport back to Mount Silver. So now, with the moves Return, Curse, Confuse Ray, and Rest, I got the TM for Rest back in Ice Cave. I probably forgot to mention that. And then I equip the leftovers, use all of my rare candies, and now, let's take on Red. He leads off with his level 81 Pikachu. It has very bad defense, but it somehow lived a return. So I reset, use 2 more rare candies to get to level 70. I'm not using all my rare candies now because I want to know what the minimum levels is, just so I know what to do for the second playthrough. The Pikachu goes down and next up is the Espeon. I sit here figuring out what to do, but I decide to go for Return. It does half. Psychic leaves me at 26 HP left, so I can tank a Psychic, that's good. The main plan is to try and set up my curses on the Snorlax, because the Snorlax can only hit you with Body Slam, which is a physical move. So if I can not get any crits or paralysis luck, I can technically set up all the curses I need to sweep the rest of his team. Plus the Crobat is still pretty fast. I think I could use 1 curse and still outspeed the rest of his team. But I do have a few attempts of quite bad luck on the Snorlax, because if I take too much damage from Body Slam or get paralyzed, I have to use Rest to recover it. And Confuse Ray at this point is just to help stall for turns. And then during this attempt, I am able to take out the Snorlax, and now for the Blastoise. It uses Rain Dance, which is good, because I really do not want the Charizard using Flamethrower for that much damage. I only have 2 curses though set up. Flamethrower leaves me at 3 HP left, I use Rest to heal up some damage, and then when I eventually wake up, I go for a Return. And it leaves it in mid-yellow health, and then Flamethrower leaves me at 3 HP again. So now I have to use Rest and try and wake up, but then Flamethrower crit, so that's an end to that attempt. I was going to use more rare candies, but I knew what the strategy was. 2 curses on Snorlax is not enough, I need more than that. So I make it past the Snorlax with 4 curses instead, which guarantee the one-shot on the Blastoise and the Charizard. And last up is his Venusaur. It cannot do anything to me at all. So I knock it out and I defeat Red with a split time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 49 seconds, with 12 resets at level 70 and a game time of 5 hours and 12 minutes. There is definitely a lot to be improved upon on the second round. So now, let's just take a look at the second playthrough. I'm not going to talk over everything, I'm just going to talk about the points where I majorly changed what I did. One thing I can definitely say is that I still need to be level 12 for Falkner for Bite, but I did try and optimize my training. What I pretty much did was skip the trainers in the early routes and go straight to fighting Unknown until I get to level 10 or so, and then clear out the entirety of the Bellsprout Tower. With this strategy though, I am able to get to Bite and defeat Falkner at level 13, but I actually am 50 seconds slower than I was in the last run. I think maybe this method of training may have been easier. It may not have been the most efficient though, but only a 50-second time loss in early game, like, I'm not even gonna really care about that really. The first couple of cities still go the same way. I still get Swift in the Union Cave, have an easy time with Bugsy. When I get to Whitney, I use Confuse Ray on the Miltank right away, and I am able to first try her since it's not able to get off a good rollout chain going. And then when I get to Ekrutik City, after dealing with the Kimono Girls, I actually head towards the Lake of Rage, fight a bunch of trainers along the way, and then I get the TM for Hidden Power. What is my Hidden Power type? This was a tough decision to make. I actually am going with Hidden Power Ice. I want a much easier Lance in exchange for a much harder Jasmine fight. I think this is a good balance, but between Ice and Ground, it was definitely a tough decision, but I still like to believe that Ice was the better call here. Fortunately, on Rival 3, even though I don't have Hidden Power Ground, just because of my higher level, I am still able to defeat him in the first attempt. Morty was really easy, Chuck was really easy, so now let's just skip to Price. On his Seal, I am unfortunately not able to one-shot it with Wing Attack. This may have been because I skipped some extra trainers, or I maybe used a protein at this point, I don't remember. And then unfortunately the Piloswine hits me with too many blizzards and I actually get a reset here. On the second attempt, the Dugon's Aurora Beam actually lowered my attack, so now what I do is on the Piloswine, I try and use Confuse Ray and sweep with Bite, but it hits through Confusion and lands a Blizzard, so there's another loss. I really should have routed in a couple of extra trainers so I can be level 38 for this fight. If I was level 38, this would be way easier. But fortunately, I'm able to win because the Piloswine just completely chokes, and it just uses Mist and Fury attack instead of actually using Blizzard, so I'm able to win on the third try. So now, without Hidden Power Ground, how easy is this Jasmine fight gonna be? Let's see. Here's another thing, since I have Hidden Power Ice for Lance, this is where I equip my Paralysis Cure Berry. And the Magnemite will be 2 shots with the move. Well, 3 shot, that was just a bit of bad luck. And now if I get paralyzed, I will have a Paralysis Cure Berry. I still need good luck though with Confuse Ray. Fortunately on the second Magnemite, it just hits itself the whole time and never lands a Thunder Wave. So now on the Steelix, I just have to confuse it. It keeps hitting me with Iron Tail. I'm trying to spam Hidden Power, because here's the thing, even though Hidden Power Ice is only neutral instead of super effective like Hidden Power Ground, the fact that it's a special move with Steelix's massive defense, it's roughly doing the same amount of damage. It might be doing a little bit more actually. Something else I do, after I defeat Jasmine, I get the call for the Radio Tower. I actually fly to Goldenrod, go south to get the Nugget and the Rare Candy, then I fly back. I want to get this Nugget now before I sell it for vitamins. I used to just get the Rare Candy here after defeating Claire, but I think I should route it out like this just so it gives me an extra item to sell for vitamins. Unfortunately, without Hidden Power Ground, I do get 1 reset on the rival in the Goldenrod basement, just because the Magnemite gets off a Thunder Wave and I don't have a Paralysis Cure Berry anymore. There is actually another Paralysis Cure Berry in Johto. It's all the way past Blackthorn City. You know that long mountainous route that goes back down to Newbark? Yeah, there is a Paralysis Cure Berry there, but I'm not able to get it right now. I technically could go get it. It would just be a massive detour and I don't think it'd be worth it. And now with the Radio Tower cleared out and the Pink Bow equipped, I actually fight some trainers on my way to Blackthorn City. Remember what I said earlier? I want to be level 48 for Claire for damage rounding. If I have to, I will use a Rare Candy if I need it. I did not end up using all of my rare candies in the last run, so I will have some to spare. And then by the time I reach Claire, after defeating her gym trainers, I equip the Never Melt Ice to boost the power of Hidden Power Ice, and even though I'm only level 47, I'm hoping this will be good enough. Hidden Power Ice one-shots all of the Dragonairs, and the Kingdra is just as easy as ever. So honestly, level 48 was only needed if I was spamming Return with Pink Bow. If I have a super effective hidden power, like, I don't need the damage rounding, it's not as important. After I defeat Claire though, I actually go down this massive route to get the Paralysis Cure Berry. I got it just in case for Lance, because I'm not even sure if Hidden Power Ice will one-shot it. This was just a safety strat. And then with Claire defeated, I go around the region picking up rare candies, and then I try to get the Mount Mortar rare candy. I forgot to get the Dratini. The reason I need to get the Dratini in this run was because I never found a Poliwag, so I had to get it, but I forgot. So that's basically like 50 seconds of time loss right there, so that was really embarrassing. And then I can get the rest of the candies, do some optional training here and there, easily crush Rival 5, which is what I would have said if I had Hidden Power Ground for the Magneton, which I don't, cause Thunder Wave. Fortunately though, I am able to defeat him on the second attempt. I do have one reset on the Elite Four member Will, just because Psychic is such a pain to deal with. I use a rare candy to get to level 50 before this point, because at this point I was only level 49 instead, because I skipped a lot more trainers than I did last time. And fortunately with this higher level, I'm able to defeat Will on the second try, but just barely in red health. Koga and Bruno go down very easily. Karen doesn't give me any problems at all either. So now, let's see if my new strategy works for Lance. Because in the last run, the way I ended up beating him was super luck dependent. Like, it was hitting itself tons of times in confusion. So I do not want to have to rely on that. So let's check it out. He sends out his Gyarados, I go for Return, doing over half. It uses Rain Dance, which is good. I have the Never Melt Ice 2 to boost Hidden Power. Hidden Power one-shots the first Dragonite. Okay. It one-shots the second Dragonite. Okay. This will help with Aerodactyl too. It one-shots the Aerodactyl with a crit. I don't think it mattered. Then on the Charizard, I 2-hit it with Return. Luckily, Flamethrower doesn't burn. Now will it one-shot the level 50? Yes, it does. Lance was very easy. That is good. I think one thing I could do to optimize this routing, I need to think of an easier way of dealing with the rivals Magnemite and Magneton, because no Hidden Power Ground made them real hard. I either need Hidden Power Ground with a new strategy for Lance, or use Hidden Power Ice with a different strategy for the rival fights. I don't know which of the two I like better. I completely destroy the first 7 Kanto gym leaders, including Misty, without a reset this time. So now let's see if Blue gives us any issues. No, he does not. I completely destroy him while remaining in green health the entire time. So, yeah, I defeat Blue at level 68. I only need level 70 for Red, so I do have a few rare candies left. I'm going to end up being at a slightly higher level too. It's not really going to help with damage, it's just going to give me more HP to deal with. So now let's do it. My moveset is still the exact same as last time. I use Return on the Pikachu for the one-shot. Next up is Espeon. I use Confuse Ray. It unfortunately doesn't hit itself, and then it lowers my special defense. Yeah, that ain't good. But luckily the second turn it hit itself. I should have just gone straight up for the 2-shot anyway, just because I don't want to have to risk it not hitting itself and I get hit with Psychic. But I think the main reason I was doing it is because if I can end up at full health for the Snorlax, I'll have more time to set up before I need to use rest. I think that was my decision going into it. I unfortunately lose this attempt though, because the Snorlax crit me with Body Slam. Yeah, I had a feeling that would happen at some point. On the next attempt, I'm able to take out the Snorlax with +4 in my attack. The Blastoise is a 2-shot with Return. Flamethrower only does 40 damage because Rain is up. So now the Venusaur comes out, it uses Giga Drain for like 10 damage, and then I one-shot it, and the battle has been decided with a time of 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 8 seconds, with 7 resets at level 71, with a game time of 5 hours and 15 minutes. These are some very interesting results. Technically speaking, my game time was 3 minutes lower, I cut my resets in half, and I beat my real time by around 3 minutes. So honestly, I would say this is a much better playthrough than the second one. It was really nice doing the second playthrough and really trying to optimize. I don't go the full Gym Leader Matt or Scott's Thoughts way of optimizing runs. I just route it out on paper, do one run, revise, second run. That's literally what I do. I know Scott will do like 7 playthroughs with this thing. Like, I just don't have that kind of time or motivation to do that. I think 2 playthroughs though will suffice though. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video and a return to the edited solo runs. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to check out my socials, or you can support me on Patreon or YouTube memberships. Links are down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video or live stream.